Hey everybody, how you doing? Wow, what a day. I would have to say what a awful day to be Oakland Raiders head coach Jon Gruden. And look, the Raiders under John have some major league issues. Major league. First of all, here's the state of the Raiders right now. And you might wonder, why am I looking down? It's because as I'm talking with you, I am posting the link and the title to this live stream, okay, to various places online, like, different social media outlets. Please feel free to type in the area your thoughts about this major problem, because that's what it is. It's a major problem. Raider Nation is going nuts over it. They ought to. We ought to. And there are a number of people who are calling for the head of Jon Gruden, okay? And hey, from Las Vegas to those in Oakland who still care about the Raiders, okay? Yeah, we're all upset, pissed off, all that stuff, okay? And I should have renamed the title Livestream so that you'd be more likely to, see that it's a live stream and chime in. So I'm going to do that as I'm talking with you. Because you always got to adjust your title on the fly when something isn't quite working like it should, okay? And let's see here. I love this title though. Jon Gruden, Mike Mayock, Raiders dumpster fire in high gear. I should say dumpster fire on high. I should say on high. On high. Take the high gear out, and then live stream. Put live stream. I'm trying to put out. Trying to put live stream in the title. So I fit live stream in the title. I've got 6 characters. Dumps Rodney Hudson there. So now I'm down to 1 title. Dumpster fire. I just say dumpster fire. Yeah, that's better. Dumpster fire. And put the E in there. And then a colon. And voila, I've got it. Okay? I've got it. Voila, I've got it. All right? There. And we got a new title. Okay. Now I can continue to share this thing because we like sharing, don't we? Get this, all right? Last season, amid all the other problems, the Raiders had one of the best offensive lines in the National Football League. You know it, and I know it. It was paced by Rodney Hudson, arguably the best center in the NFL. You know it, and I know it. We had Trent Brown, arguably one of the best offensive tackle in the NFL. You know it, and I know it. We had Colt Tim Miller, who's still there, who was getting better, not one of the best, but hey, he was getting those boxing, moving Muhammad Ali feet, wasn't he? You know it, and I know it, okay? So, Gabe Jackson, one of the NFL's best guards. You know it, and I know it. All right? Shall I go on? How many times do I have to repeat that this Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders had one of the best offensive lines in the National Football League? Now, Richie Incognito worked on him, gave him all the psychological help he needed, brought him in, gone. After 2 years, okay? Gone. Unceremoniously, okay? So where are the Raiders now? With no stars. That's right. Because Rodney Hudson said, hey, Raiders said, hey, we'll save $3 million if we release you. He says, bye. because he made a point that was quite true. In the 6 years he'd been with the team, they had one winning season. And do you realize that the Raiders have had only one winning season since, what, 2003? Bad, all right? And so people are complaining, and they should. And they said, well, we decided we're going to take all the money and spread it out into different areas and positions. You know what that is? And that's a Mike Mayock idea, which is stupid. And I'm not calling Mike Mayock stupid, okay? But I can call it an idea that he comes up with, all right? And Mile High Raider says, I can't believe what Hudson was the glue on the offensive side. Oh, yeah. Let's put this in its proper place, okay? The center for the offensive line is the quarterback for the offensive line. The center gets the right blocking calls made. For example, let's say you're in a formation like this pistol, okay? And this is Rodney Hudson. He has to make the right calls. For example, if he knows that the tight end is coming in motion, if they're designing this play correctly from a standpoint of what calls to make, he can make the call with the quarterback to tell him what to block, okay? And basically, he's coming along, and he'll know to block the onside linebacker or end out here, all right? The center makes sure that, for example, maybe this defensive tackle moves inside, and maybe the center knows that he needs to angle block, so he can make a call to change that blocking scheme so that this star Pro Bowl tackle is taken care of on the line. The Rodney Hudson, all right? Rodney Hudson does that, and he does it, well, now did it better than anybody else in the National Football League, okay? But hey, guess what? Does that matter? No. Gone. And you would ask, why? Part of it, really, it does have to do with the Raiders under Jon Gruden notoriously poor handling of both the selection of and the maintenance of free agents. And look, do we need a list? You want to try for Khalil Mack, most notably, okay? And on down the line. Now, that's one side of the problem. The other side of the problem, you're not going to like this, it's not Jon's fault. The other side of the problem is that the Raiders inherited a gigantic problem when they elected to move to Las Vegas and build a giant state-of-the-art stadium that they had to pay for everything other than the subsidy. That's right. For those of you who don't understand these things, let me tell you. The state of Nevada, through Clark County, owns the stadium and paid the subsidy for part of it, not the whole. Of the $2 billion cost, only $650 million, technically, was coughed up by the state of Nevada / Clark County. The rest, the Raiders are responsible for. That's right. So what happens when you find out that, hey, not just the monies coming from the pay-go were short by $20 million, but hey, guess what? It's a pandemic, and all those casino sponsors that you thought were going to be raining cash on you and everything else, gone. The company town has a problem. You know it, and I know it. And because the Raiders made that one-horse play, guess what? The problems of the company town are now the problems of the sponsors, which are now the problems of the Raiders. So the Raiders are trying, literally, to hold on to what they have, and they're doing a lousy job of it because they don't know how to negotiate with their star players and say, you know what? We're in some money trouble, and we're going to figure out how to straighten this out. And we need your help. We need to renegotiate, rename, everything else. Have you noticed the Raiders haven't done that at all? They have been content to just let players go. And And I believe the reason that they have is because they don't understand how to manipulate their cap properly, all right, and how to adjust for lack of revenue and batten down the hatches. They would rather, instead of doing all that, and it is complicated work, instead of doing all that, what do? Clip, clip, clip. That's bad stuff, okay? Clip, clip, clip. That's bad stuff. But that's all they've been doing is clip, clip, clip. They've been doing clip, clip, clip for a few years now. That's bad stuff. At some point, you have to say, hey, look, it can't be Rodney Hudson's problem. It can't be Gabe Jackson's problem. It can't be, you know what I'm saying? Trenton Brown. It can't be the problems of all of these folks that are being released. At some point, the top brass has got to take a look in the mirror and say, you know what? What are we doing wrong? All right? And then be honest about it. Okay, you've got a situation where you have a head coach and Jon Gruden, who is a friend, okay? And I'm saying this about a man who's a friend. I'm not to have Jon on speed dial or anything, but I consider Jon a friend. But I'm being honest, all right? I am disappointed that Jon hires his friends more than people who someone else would look at and say, that person's a genius. That person's a football god, right? In terms of coaching, right? None of that. None of that. None of that. And then when Rodney Hudson comes up and reportedly tells the truth, oh, like I can't handle the truth. Well, tough. Tough. That is tough. You can't handle the truth. Now, Jon has a $100 million contract, I believe a beautiful house in Las Vegas, okay? But, and I think Pro Football Weekly put it right. I mean, look, when you got $100 million, you can, and, you're not going to be cut. You're not being fired, all right? You can make all the problems you want to. But the biggest problem he has right now is exemplary in this tweet that's gotten the highest number of this one, okay? Now would be a great time to fire Jon Gruden. So basically what you're saying is that's a bad look, okay? I don't wish that on Jon, but look, it's up there. People are pissed. They're massively pissed, okay? Massively pissed, all right? Just no other way to say it, but they are massively pissed. There is now a Twitter account that is called Jon Gruden is a Joke. Okay? I'm serious. All right? All right? You've got people who are putting up memes where this is what dumbass, and I'm coming. This is hilarious, okay? This is what they're putting up. This is Alex Jones, on full idiot pop, okay? Because Alex can act like an idiot. I like Alex personally, but it's true. He plays for the fans. Look at this, okay? This is if I ever see Jon Gruden in public, this is what this guy is saying, all right?
Come on over here. Come on, coward. Coward. I know that I want to punch you in the nose. Don't beat your goddamn ass, you son of a bitch.
Jeez Louise, okay? All right? I'm sorry. Some of this stuff is funny. Oh, man. It says, the only way the Rodney Hudson cut makes sense for 2021 is if there is a blockbuster move to follow. Otherwise, I cannot justify letting go of your best O-lineman for future cap flexibility as Jon Gruden tries to get the Raiders into the playoffs in year 4 of his comeback. Jon Gruden and Juju at midnight. Okay. If he does all that for Juju Smith-Schuster, come on, man. Jon Gruden's key to the 2020 Raiders defense is gone after one season in Las Vegas with 0 sacks. Yep, that's right. He gone. All right. And Jon Gruden, he has a good player on the roster. We're only a few players away from becoming a competitive team. Jon Gruden, hold my beer. Oh, Jon Gruden, Mike Mayock, and Jon Gruden are set to open free agency with a massive win, following the reported agreement with, that's a dumpster fire. I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody says. You heard it. You heard it here. You heard it here first. You heard it here again. It ain't working out. Okay, wrong dude. Okay, I mean, Mile High Raider says, but Jon Gruden has guarantee money, so he gets paid no matter what. Yeah, but you know what though? Here is the issue for me. Okay, what Jon Gruden does now more than ever in the Raiders impacts what they get in sponsorships, impacts the value of the luxury suites they want to sell. Okay, it impacts revenue coming into the stadium. If you're not putting a winner out there, and equally worse in today's social media world, okay, putting out a lot of bad news and bad vibes that, you know what, you're not prepping for 2021 in a way that fans are excited about, what's going to want to make a sponsor who has the money, and let's face it, those are far fewer now because of the pandemic, want to put that person, their money into the Raiders? Let alone, all right, or let alone any other company that's a current sponsor who wants to retain their agreement. Because if their agreement is based on wins and losses or ratings or anything like that, and the Raiders are not putting a team together that passes the primetime smell test preliminarily, in other words, that means they don't get on Monday Night Football as much, guess what happens to the sponsorship value? You got it. So it's going at the wrong time. I mean, this is a time to press the panic button regarding the way the Raiders are ran in the middle of the pandemic. Okay? You can't just decide you're going to do what they did, which is get rid of people. The simple fact that they weren't able to renegotiate contracts and keep their star players, that's priority number one, points to me that they don't understand how to properly negotiate. They need to get the old book from the Harvard School, the Harvard Project on Negotiation of the late 70s called Getting to Yes, from the Harvard Business School, and read it chapter and verse to find out how to properly negotiate to keep people with them. I have to do that in this business. When I have a revenue downturn, when I saw the revenue downturn, when I knew it was coming, I told all of our vloggers, hey, here's what's going to happen. Here's what we're going to do if it happens. And then you know what? When it did happen, I did it. No one was surprised. I showed them what our revenues picture looks like. I showed them what I could do and what I couldn't do. And I showed them the baseline of what had to be paid for to run Zenny 62 Media. Yeah, this is a Delaware corporation, all right? So I know something on a small scale of what they're going through on a larger scale, all right? It doesn't matter. It still has to do with revenues and expenses and people, and not in that order. People, revenues, expenses. You want to make sure you have the revenues to pay the people, okay? The Raiders are not negotiating with their people. When their people have, they have obligations and money, and they understand what it means to renegotiate. But to not do it and let these folks run away consistently, all right? We're not talking about a one-off. We're not talking about, Trent Brown, we couldn't work out anything with him. No, we're talking about multiple turns at bat with experienced, wildly crafty veterans. We're talking about multiple turns at bat. What do I mean by multiple turns at bat? I mean multiple opportunities to simply do the right type of negotiating and get what you want, not get rid of. It's very easy just to, it's like a baby. I don't want want to deal with you. I'm tired, okay? I'm gonna run. I'm gonna take my ball and run away. You know, a lot of people do that. It's called, we have something for that now. You know what it's called? It's called cancel culture. Cancel culture is immaturity. If you didn't know, all right? You can't deal with somebody, you cancel them. You don't try to find out what they're thinking. You don't try to find out what their needs are. Mayock says, we know what whoever is creating the contracts for the team is bad because of how the Mariota situation for sure. Right. But that comes from Mayock, all right? Mayock, if he is a true general manager, has say over the contracts. He works with Tom Blanda, all right, who structures them. And they go together. If Mike Mayock does not understand, thank you, Chi. If Mike Mayock does not understand how to model out a contract to figure out best case and worst case in terms of terms, he should not be the general manager. Okay? He should not be the general manager. If, all right, Dave got something coming for you. I need your address, by the way. Email me so I can send that to you, buddy. Okay. I think you did once before, so what you would say, am I nuts? Yeah, dude, my sleep life has been upside down, so I apologize, okay? But I digress. Mike Mayock should not be general manager if he does not understand those technicalities, all right? But right now, it looks like he's got a problem, okay? And, and by the way, yeah, I've been working like up and down to the bone, everything. Look, I haven't had a chance to do my nails. They're too long. Okay. Guess no trade for Deshaun Watson now. Oh, and then how about that whole thing about Russell Wilson's praising the Vegas line? You know, Las Vegas Raiders have a great old line. That great old line. Gone. Gone. All right. Is there a chance we could sign Kyle Long? If they sign Kyle, look, if all of these moves are done because they think they can get a guy who's coming out of retirement, I got nothing but love for Kyle Long. He's a great guy, okay? But let's face it, he's 32 going on 33. He came out of retirement and moving closer to the day he decided to retire. Why did he make the move eventually? Because he was having injury problems, okay? I mean, unless you're going to show me he's bionic, tell me that's not going to happen again. All right? I'm sorry. All right? He said, I feel like they're getting rid of expensive players to plug in average players because of all the holes. Just ain't it. And also, no, Wilson ain't coming. No line here. O-line here. Well, they're getting rid of expensive players because they don't know how to properly negotiate with the expensive players to make them less expensive, okay? All over the National Football League, people are going through these problems with the pandemic. But you got to believe that let's give Mayock and company the benefit of the doubt, all right? And you say, why did I not mention Gruden? Because John doesn't negotiate the contracts, all right? But let's say, all right, let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say that maybe they did try and maybe the revenue picture was so bad for the Raiders they couldn't make a deal. They need to be honest about that, all right? And they need to be honest. She says there were no fans for Mark Davis. He's obviously acting cheap like the Bengals, but worse. Here's the problem. Again, Vegas is not working out. And no, I'm not saying they're going to move, all right? But the fact of the matter is the company town has a giant problem that it may never it will not recover from in the short term. And I love Las Vegas, so I am not saying that with glee, okay? It is a fact. Unless the government, unless Biden comes up with a huge haul for the hospitality industry like they're trying to help the restaurants, it's going to be a long, long period of time, like 5 or 6 years, before we see Las Vegas turn around and look like it looked before the pandemic. Because the country does not have its economic planning act together, folks, all right? I repeat, the United States does not have its economic planning act together. Now, I don't want to go off on a rant and go off on a tangent about, economic planning and all that stuff because we're talking football. But these two things do go together. Remember last year, all right? And he says, they want better run blocking for Jacobs. No, I don't think it's that at all right? He says, to win in this league, you need talented players. Do you let the best in this position get away? Well, if you're watching this, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm reading the comments of people who are writing. I know that in a video later, you're not gonna be able to see that. So if you're wondering what I'm saying, that's why I'm doing this. Now let me go back to what I'm saying. All right. Remember last year when the Trump administration during the pandemic had this economic recovery panel that all these heavy hitters were on, including Jerry Jones and late Sheldon Adelson? All right, remember that? Remember how Trump promised to help them monetarily? Remember that? He never came through. All right, he never came through. Okay, so you want to blame somebody for this problem? Blame them, because they hurt Las Vegas. Among all cities, Las Vegas has been the most damaged by this, and no one has come to the rescue of Las Vegas. Fact. All right? He says Derek Carr is safe, but fair for the Raiders to at least draft a QB. How are they going to pay for the QB? All right? Yeah, draft a QB. Why? Okay, fine. They're better off they're better off keeping Mariota right now, the way things are going. They need to hold on, because all this moving in and out of players from a guy who is not really great at coaching new players in his system. I'm just being honest with you, John. Your track record could be a lot better because your system, you don't know how to simplify the system, okay? All right? So that you can plug these guys in and make them perform right off the bat, all right? Jay Boogie says the Raiders are a clown show. How you doing, Jay Boogie? And then DeBeat says, I said it when it first announced the Raiders were moving Las Vegas, that was bad things would happen. And this was before COVID became a thing. The football gods want Raiders in Oakland. Hey, yeah, I agree with you. Oakland needs its own NFL team. Unquestionably, the Raiders are in Las Vegas, where right now they belong. And that's another story. David Comden says, sound like the Raiders need to clean house of their mismanagement team just because they are going backward. Zinni, I don't think this team will ever be successful in my lifetime. I'm only 37. Oh, wow. Thank you for this channel and your input. Oh, thank you, man. But don't. Oh, it makes me cry. He says, I agree. Mariota will be the best fit now. Yeah, but I'm saying, hey, you know what? Look, here is the thing, okay? Here is the thing, all right? He says, it is sad how the city of Oakland screwed up. So that's why I'm not crying about the Raiders having left. I understand, all right? The mayor didn't put me in charge, and I'm arrogant enough to say that, and I don't care what you think, okay? The fact of the matter is that Las Vegas wanted, and the whole damn state of Nevada wanted the Raiders. Period. End of story, okay? We were like fritzing around in California. Well, it's kind of a great idea. And, oh, well, they think that, oh, they're gone. Oh, you know what I mean? That's fucking stupid. Excuse my language for cursing. Don't hold it against me. But, okay? It's crazy making. Back to Gruden. Yeah, it seems like he is sabotaging the Raiders. Or it really does. But again, in defense of this side, there is a way to defend him. All right? Because the money problem I talked about with respect to not getting a bailout hurts the NFL and it hurts the Raiders because it most negatively affects Las Vegas. And remember something, they have to be repeated. The NFL, I believe it was 4 years ago, originally made a decision that the local teams, the home cities, were supposed to provide at least $25 million, okay, of revenue to the ledger to run a team. That means your sponsorships had to be higher, and they didn't want a situation where teams were splitting money. That's why you have in Los Angeles the Rams and the Chargers in one stadium. That's why in New York you have the Giants and the Jets in one stadium, right? That model that started over there is something that the league has tried to replicate in California. They're trying to take sponsorship revenues and make sure in local areas that are large enough that both teams benefit well from them. That's the idea. And so the Raiders were supposed to share Levi Stadium with the Niners. That was the original idea. But the Raiders didn't want to do that because, hey, look, for a lot of reasons that are basically good, the Oakland Raiders wouldn't be the Oakland Raiders in Levi Stadium, all right? It didn't work out that way. And to the league's, and I criticize the league here. The league did not see the power of the Raider brand in Oakland to basically force them to stay and make Mark an offer he couldn't refuse. What did he do? He took off to where he thought the offer was better, because Shell Nadelson, the late Shell Nadelson, rest in peace, was throwing out around a ton of cash and had access to a ton more. Okay? Now he's passed away, which I think is a big factor here. All right? All this is tied together in some way, and I'm explaining how. And the Raiders are without money, and so all of a sudden it's falling on Jon Gruden once again, because the Khalil Mack issue was hurt because the Raiders got $20 million less from the pay-go, from the taxes in the stadium, that they were Stadco to build. Remember, the original builder, the original Stadco, you know what that was supposed to be? Majestic Realty. Who pushed them out of the way? Las Vegas Sands. Stiff-armed them. Say, we got this. Boom, okay? Pushed them out of the way. It was just Las Vegas Sands and the Raiders. Las Vegas Sands represented by Shell Nadelson and Robert Goldstein, who is now the chief executive officer. He was chief operating officer then, okay? The man who said that they were going to write all the checks, Mr. Adelson was, to cover cost overruns, okay? That's right, he said that, cost overruns and infrastructure payments. Folks, the check is long gone. All right? He says, do you really believe Jon Gruden, the coach of the Raiders? He said the Raiders management spent more focus on the stadium than getting to re-sign the players. Paul, they had to. That's a great point. Paul says, I think the Raiders management spent more time focusing on the stadium than getting players. You're right, because they're Stadco. They're the stadium company. And they're responsible for getting the revenue in that then they can use some for the stadium and some for football, but they had cost problems in both areas. The cost problems from the stadium and lack of money fell on the football team. All right? This is something that students that use my Oakland Baseball SimWorld learned on a regular basis when it was used at 40 high schools and colleges around the world, most notably at the University of San Francisco and Ohio, University of Ohio, and other schools, and in London at a high school, okay? My point is that they realized that if you were the manager of the stadium, you were responsible for its costs, and if those costs were too great, guess what? They ate into your ability to pay players, all right? Unless you're able to renegotiate. If you weren't, you know what happened? In that model scale is what is happening to the Raiders right now. You understand? It's what is happening to the Raiders right now. The stadium problems are overwhelming their ability to pay for players, but the problem is exacerbated by the fact that they don't know how to renegotiate with their players to keep them. So guess what? Sayonara, NFL's best offensive line, trouble for the 2021 season, losing record coming, unless they do some major league changing. Do you realize this is yet another year of drastic change for the Raiders? I mean, it's almost impossible to sit back and look at this team and say, you know, this has been stable. You've had a stable group, all right? And they have broken up the party for no reason. It wasn't like, hey, we won the Super Bowl. No, wasn't anything like that at all. And comment says, do you really believe that John G will be the coach? And he says, Russell Wilson will take the Raiders off his list. Russell Wilson would be signing his death wish to come to Oakland, Las Vegas, okay? Russell Wilson will be signing his death wish to come to Las Vegas in the current situation that it's in. Just simple, end of story. They've got to take care of Derek Carr first. He is the glue. Think about it. Who else is there that's the glue now? Hudson's gone. I mean, all these great players are gone. All right? Who's remaining? Wide receivers? Well, who? Williams? Gone. Aguilar? Gone. Who? Who? I mean, who? Ruggs? He just came. All right? This is a team in a massive state of flux. Massive. And right now, absent some brilliant coaching move from Jon Gruden that he's not known for, I cannot see. You say Josh Jacobs, still a youngster, okay? Cleveland Farrell, another youngster. Abram, another one, all right? Where are the wily, crafty veterans? Where are the leaders? You got Carr. Colton Miller? Okay. But, all right. I know Nelson was a free agent, but they could have retained him. He says, do you think the Rams will get Hudson with the Rams to play Stafford? I think Hudson, that's a great question I haven't put thought to. But it wouldn't surprise me, all right? Clinton says, Shazani, you've been calling it the whole time. Thanks, man. I hate to be right all the time. And it wouldn't surprise me. I'm going to say something that might shock you, but it wouldn't surprise me if Rodney Hudson wound up in New England. Okay? All right? It would not surprise me. Now, I don't agree that Nelson's move was the right thing to do because he was he knew that offense. He was an excellent receiver in it, and to just get rid of him like that on the hopes that you're going to replace him with who? All right? No, look, let me put it this way. Eric, you didn't see Nelson Aguilar coming. I didn't see a Nelson Aguilar coming. Nobody saw Nelson Aguilar coming. Nelson Aguilar turned out to be a nice surprise. And so you get rid of him? I'm sorry. That doesn't make any sense at all. You know it, and I do, okay? They couldn't renegotiate properly. They didn't want to do their foldovers. They didn't want to turn, one sign into a signing bonus. They didn't want to do the cutting. They didn't want to do the maneuvering. They cut people. They cut people because they can't figure out how to solve negotiating problems. They cut them because they cannot get to yes. All right? That's why. If you're a good we're talking people to people, okay? You know that when someone tells you exactly what you want to hear, you go for it. You know that person around, that person that can talk so comfortably and so readily that it's like music. And so you follow along and you make that sign, okay? And you sign away because they were so persuasive. That's not the Raiders under Jon Gruden and Mike Mayock. They can't make a deal, all right? They do it what they think. This is what I think is going through their head. All right, I believe that they believe that the Raider way is to say, we're not going to negotiate with you. You take what we give you, and that's it. And that way worked in the past under a different system where we didn't have the kind of free agency and, just the kind of society we have today, but it doesn't work today. So if the Raiders are working under that philosophy, and I believe that they are, they're going to continue to fail. Because that philosophy does not produce good negotiators. They do the same thing with employees. It's either my way or the highway. Negotiate. Change. Prove that you can work with people. All right? And, all right, prove that they can work with people. And Raiders, it's not a matter of being negative. It's a matter of fact. I'm not talking about faith in the Lord Jesus Christ, which I have. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the facts of how to run a business, okay? All right? So Raiders, you want to run a business one day? Listen up, all right? Running a business is about people first. And if you don't know how to explain to your people in a way that gets them to do what you want, you're not a great leader. Or you're not trying to be a great leader. I'm not a great leader. I'm trying to be one. The first tenet of being a great leader is to respect the people that are with you. The second tenet of being a great leader is to find out what the needs are of the people that are working for you. All right? He says, I understand. So you're basically saying Gruden and Davis don't know what they're doing. I'm saying that Gruden and Mayock don't. It's not Mark's place as an owner to be involved in that, in my opinion. I don't agree with the the style that Jerry Jones has or even Al Davis has of getting involved. I think an owner should be more like Clint Murchison was of the Dallas Cowboys, rest in peace. Clint Murchison's probably someone you never heard of. He hired Tex Schramm, Tex Schramm, Gil Brandt, and they hired Tom Landry, and they had a corporate triumvirate, and they ran the Dallas Cowboys. And that's what I believe. I believe you hire good people, you step out of the way, and you let them work. Mark is in a position where he can say, and he did this for the stadium, he gave direction, and then he got the best people to execute the vision that he wanted. That's the way you do things, all right? He did that right, okay? Okay, he did that, all right? But my point is, you can't do that on the football side and expect success. If you're going to do that on the stadium side and get success, on the football side, you have to say, hey, look, do I have the experts that are making the right call? And right now, he doesn't. All right? The trouble is that Mark has great relationships with these fellows, and he's not want to make a change anytime soon, but he'll have to if things go south this year. If he doesn't, it's going to ruin the team's franchise value potential at a time when Las Vegas needs, the Raiders need to hold on to their sponsor value. Okay? Okay? And, I mean, a lot will change, I think, when the infrastructure bill comes up. You better call your Republican leaders and make sure they back the bill, because if they don't, and they give the Democrats a problem with the infrastructure bill, that's going to fall on the National Football League in a bad way. I'm just telling you how it really works. That's just a fact. All right? Thank you. That's just a fact. Bright side. Crosby, Jacobs, Ruggs, and Renfro. Right, they are bright sides. But look, Crosby, Jacobs, Ruggs, and Renfro are all young. They're not veterans in the truest sense of the word. The veterans have been gotten rid of. All right? And the Raiders have this revolving door. Every year it's like a revolving door, but it's more revolving this year than the years past, because the Raiders do not know how to negotiate to retain their players. And that's the bottom line here. It's a dumpster fire. Okay? There's no other way to put it. And what the Raiders will try to do is, in order to calm the bad PR waters, is some big one. And Raiders says, I understand he's any, but look at the bright side. It's that pass rusher they got is not good. All right? Period. He ranked, out of 68 defensive ends, he ranked 58th against the run. You don't get a pass rusher and say, well, we're say, well, he's just going to stop the pass. Well, what if the team decides, you know what? You're putting him in, we're going to call draw plays because this guy cannot stop the run, and we're going to call a draw play to his side. How do I know? Because look at the tape. It's happened already to him. Running back goes one way, fakes like he's blocking, takes the handoff, and goes right to where Yannick was, because he's Russian, and he's like, oh, okay, because the coaches didn't put him in the right place, and because he's too small to get off the blocks and not fast enough to make a difference. All right? He is not the most feared pass rusher in the NFL. Let's just get that out of the way. Good? Sure, he went to the Pro Bowl. All right? But, hey, look, it doesn't take much to... You don't really have to worry about scheming around him. Okay? Run. All right? Oh, you say draft a corner? I got a name for you. I just interviewed him today, okay? And, well, technically I didn't interview him, but I was in the press conference, and I have the video on him. And he is a young man who I predict is going to be an NFL Hall of Fame cornerback. You heard me say that, all right? He is going to be an NFL Hall of Fame cornerback. I repeat, the man that I'm telling you about is going to be an NFL Hall of Fame cornerback, and his name is Jalen Askew with the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech, okay? And he is the fastest guy on the team. He is a fellow who when you listen to him talk, okay, and you pay attention to him, he's not cocky. He reminds me of John Abram in a lot of ways. I think they'll get along really well. And I think that both of them on the silver and black will go a long way towards cementing this defensive secondary's attitude well into the future. He thinks he can cover anybody. All right? You got to love a guy like that. So if we get him, if we get him, I think the secondary will be well taken care of for the future. Okay, so I'm really excited about wherever he goes. He's going to be a. What I'm going to do is break out the separate video on him so that you can, meet the man essentially via his press conference and see how he carries himself. He is a young man who's going to be a great leader. He's already been a great leader at Georgia Tech. And I think Jalen Askew is the guy that that's going to make somebody very, very happy. And I think the Raiders and Mayock should really go and make him an objective. He had his pro day today, and was basically said about him that he was offered a scholarship, I think in 2015 or something like that. But I don't think that but he's also a team captain for Georgia Tech as well. So you cannot, as Kelly Quinlan says here on Twitter, Askew spoke with eloquence and grace about his and his teammates' concerns about social injustice and the gravity of things going on in the world right now after practice on Thursday. That was August 27th, 2020. So he's already an acknowledged leader. He's a can't miss, all right? The Raiders should get him. I think he's a man that, look him up, Askew. Jalen Askew is going to be on your list for Defensive Rookie of the Year this year. That's my prediction, okay? Right there. He also plays special teams, which is an emphasized task on Georgia Tech. You're welcome, okay? So definitely remember that name, Jalen Askew. Jalen Askew. Remember that name. Going to because I also have him, and again, I will break down the Twitter account. I don't mean that, folks. What I meant is I will break down my live stream video, and so that you can see Mr. Askew and his press conference, and I'll have that up by tomorrow. But here's what Mr. Askew looks like. All right, here, okay? That's Mr. Askew, okay? And see, covered the full video right there, all right? Okay? And that's Mr. Askew. This guy is your cover corner. This guy is your next Lester Hayes. All right? That guy. All right? Lester Hayes, one of my favorites. I love the Coliseum games. Oh my goodness gracious. All right. Okay, so where are we now? It is 11:10. And okay. What about Arnett and Mullen? I'm not saying replace him. I'm saying simply that you form a team. He would make he will complete the Raiders roster back there. All right? I mean, they will have, quite literally, with Abrams flying around and this guy, and with Arnett and Mullen, woo-wee, okay? He says Mullen draws a lot of flags and third downs. He draws flags because of the technique issues. If he were, let me put it this way, okay? If the Raiders played eight in the box a lot and they blitzed a ton, Mullen would draw fewer flags because the pass wouldn't be getting off much. Mullen pays the price for a wussy scheme. One that has the wide tackle six look where the defensive ends and the defensive tackles are everywhere but where they should be, and they're basically way away from the ball on third down. That design, and I have seen no evidence that Jon Gruden's friend over there is going to put in a system in that stops that problem. I'm not excited about Mr. Bradley. It's nothing personal against him, but it is something personal to this habit that Jon has of, hiring friends. If you see this guy was a friend of Jon Gruden's, that should be your first clue that we're in trouble. All right? And then if you have to design, well, he created the Seattle defense. Pete Carroll was the guy that really created the defense, okay? Let's not get this twisted. All right? Let's not get this twisted. And by the way, the Seattle defense, you can scheme that has been schemed around. So all this stuff about the Seattle defense has got to go away. It's time for a different approach. And I'm explaining that the best approach is the one that Buddy Ryan crafted so many years ago. Pressure matters. All right? Eric Scheib says flags are poor approach in regards to discipline. But also, I'm going to put it this way, and it goes back to an example that was a great article. I think that was written by the late Frank DeFord in Sports Illustrated. And it was about how the Steelers' defense just single-handedly, I mean the front seven, not the whole defense either. The front seven literally manhandled the Cleveland Browns. I mean, the ball was snapped, the offensive line was surge, and then nothing. Nothing, all right? You want to build a defense that's capable of that. But it's not just personnel, it's scheme. It's pinch 4-3. It's aggressive play. This is where I agree with Jon, it's single gapping. I'm not really a two-gap fan. I understand that Derek Mason applies it, and so does Bill Belichick. But I'm a big proponent of the Tom Landry / Tony Dungy style of coaching, which calls for single gap control. For the simple reason that when you're talking about controlling an offensive lineman that can, pull a truck, and you're asking your defender who may not be able to do that to control that person, that's nuts. You're better off quite literally cajoling that lineman into blocking your guy where he wants to go to stop the run. And you can do that by a coordinated single gap defense. So I'm not getting back to what I was saying, and you're reading this. He says, we lost games because of Mullen boying. I get that. It wasn't his fault. Mullen didn't design the defense. Paul Charles says the Raiders should look at the Rams defense and the Pats defense and the Bucks defense. The Bucks defense is what I'm talking about. That's the modern variant, thank you, Paul Charles, of what I'm talking about. I mean, what Jon could have done is he could have plucked the linebacker coach for the Bucks under their D coordinator. Okay? They could have got him. You know what? The logical thing to do is you steal from the people that had the best defense, right? The Raiders didn't do that. Instead, Jon got his friend. Woohoo! Barbecue time. Cocktail time. Woohoo! Yeah, baby. Woo! All right. Okay. Where's my trophy? All right, folks. I will be back tomorrow to talk more about this. I love your inputs. Thank you very much. And I will be back at this earlier time. And I thank you all for wondering what happened and expressing concern and everything else. We're fine. Just super busy. I'm trying to get on a normal sleep schedule, so I gotta get to bed. All right. Live long and prosper, everybody. Don't give up on the Raiders. You can be critical, as I am, but be a fan too. Nothing wrong with being both, okay? Thank you all, and better days will be ahead, but you gotta push for them. Just like this country, okay? You can't just hope that the laws change. You gotta get in there and push for legislation, write your own bills, run for Congress if you need to make change. It's called a democracy. All right? All right? And Carol says, we always make the tackles second, too late, missed tackles. That's bad scheme. Let's talk more about that tomorrow. I'll see you all later, okay? Be safe. Thank you, Muhammad. Thanks, Ron. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Raiders. Thanks, Muhammad. I'll see you all later. God bless you. All right, see ya.